Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. Thought I'd give this channel a mention, to be honest. Karine Allerud biographies, if you can see it at the name of the bottom of the screen there. 543,000 subscribers. Karine Allerud biographies, I believe. Just a lot of good channel I found here with some good sort of documentaries or whatever you want to call it. So focusing on the Queen here and how she basically played everybody, like everybody got like it's like Donald Trump now, you know what I mean? She played everybody, and just she's no different to King Charles, same agenda, same crack. She just hid it better, didn't speak out of turn, didn't show her hand, so to speak, the hidden hand. She kept it hidden. So yeah, she wasn't this nice old woman people think is the problem. And you have people in England again. This woman's not from England, and she mentions people in England and how we adore this woman because the people of England are stupid. Love, that's the other side of it. So yeah, it's just a good little thing here. I mean, it's called Queen Elizabeth Epstein filed secret societies and hidden royal scandals. So there was plenty of them. That's the beauty of it. Even if you watch The Crown, it kind of alludes to them as well. So these aren't nice people, and like kind of proof of it as well is you've got here on the same channel a good video on Princess Margaret, the Queen's sister. Princess Margaret, blackmail, sex parties, royal cover-ups, and narcissism. And she had her own little private island, Mystique, it was called, Princess Margaret. And she used to have wild drug sex parties on Mystique, up to all sorts. And photos were taken, and again, there's a film called The Bank Job featuring Jason Statham, where the British government and MI5 employed bank robbers to get the photos of the Princess Margaret back because they were in a bank vault, because it was a disgrace to the royal family. There's some of the things that she was up to. So there was a big royal scandal, and they literally robbed a bank, employed bank robbers to rob a bank and steal the photos of Princess Margaret nude and up to all sorts and get them back. This is a true story. So the royals aren't who you think. They're really not. They killed Princess Diana on the right here. I mean, they killed this woman. It's not a big stretch of the imagination if you were alive at the time and knew what was going on. They knocked this woman off, and then there's a bit of evidence for that as well. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they didn't personally murder her by their own hands, but they very much they didn't rob the bank either. You know what I mean? They didn't go and rob the bank. They got people to do it for them. They're the royal family. They have quite a lot of power. And they're all knobheads, apparently. Again, there's another talk here of, sorry, different channel, but along the same lines. This is Gilded Daughters. Why everyone who worked for the Queen Mother hated her because she was a dick, right? These people think they're better than us. They're the royal blood. We're the peasants, and they look down on us, and they don't treat us very well. And this has been proved with multiple of them and their staff. Again, the same was said of Princess Margaret. She was very obnoxious to a lot of her staff and looked down on people. Her mother done the same thing. Well, do you not think the other member of the family was the same? But she just hid it a lot better because she was the queen. So I'll get into this video anyway. I'll play a bit of the video. That was the crack, and she even used to wear gloves so she didn't have to touch the peasants' hands. There's a crack with the queen. So a good channel though. I thought I'd mention the channel. A few other videos which I won't play, but I'll mention. She's got a good one here on Gandhi. Apparently Gandhi was a dick as well. All these people of history that we think were I mean, we mentioned Mother Teresa quite a while ago, and now Mother Teresa here was a wolf in sheep's clothing, as we see in the video. So Gandhi apparently was the same crack. Good history of Gandhi here, 31-minute video. Gandhi was a knobhead, is kind of the crack. We've got Angelina Jolie, sex, incest, rituals, witchcraft and all sorts with Angelina Jolie. Good video yet again. But linking into the sort of satanic sex parties, etc., and Epstein and all this kind of crack. Hollywood and what Hollywood's about. So yeah, another good video, but on Angelina Jolie, same channel, and she's got loads of videos. These are the ones I've watched. Hollywood sex parties and sex magic rituals is another one. So she's got some good subjects, and again, she goes quite deep in some of her information as well. I found all of these videos very interesting, especially the one on Princess Margaret. I found this very interesting, very educational as well. It's all right information. Yeah, and the one on Gandhi as well. Some of the things that Gandhi got up to with his wife, he basically let his wife die. He was sleeping with his nieces and his nieces who were quite young, and apparently to test his can't remember the word. He was like celibate sort of thing. He's tested to test his faith. He slept with his young nieces who were quite young apparently. So Gandhi was a dick as well. So yeah, good channel anyway if you want to watch them particular videos. But we'll concentrate on the Queen for now. But the video is 55 minutes long, so we won't get through it all. So if you want to watch this on the channel as well, but I'll play a bit of it just so you get the gist of the channel, the Queen, who the royal family really are, and what really goes on. You know what I mean? Again, when you live in Britain as well, in England, these are the masters. You know what I mean? The masters of the universe here. They own everything. It's their country. So you think they're going to tell the truth about themselves? And the answer's no. So there you go. So we'll do it here with Karina Lord biographies. So let's do it.
Princess Elizabeth has won a special place in the hearts of the people of this country and of the Dominion.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
Hey friend, welcome to my channel Karina Lude, where we deep dive and break down the most iconic stars in history. If you're not yet subscribed, please be sure to do so and turn your notifications on so you never miss an upload. Today we are doing Queen Elizabeth II. There has been a lot of mourning and sadness after the death of Queen Elizabeth II. There has also been a great deal of celebration. Twitter was in shambles. I could not even log on Twitter for too long because, oh my goodness, it was insanity. But I also learned a lot, and it made me curious to know what exactly are the reasons for so many people, even a lot of Brits. A lot of people said it was Black Twitter and Irish Twitter, but there were even a lot of Brits I saw giving their commentary and a lot of journalists writing articles, and I was learning so much. But we will get into all of that in this video. I want to do something a little bit different with this video, with today's documentary, because oftentimes when we do these breakdowns and we start off with the biography of the person that we're breaking down and their childhood, the traumas and all the pain that they went through, it can make a lot of you guys sympathize with a person so much that by the time we get to the toxic things that they were involved in or the trauma they inflicted on others, a lot of people in the comments are so sympathetic that they disregard the trauma that these figures have inflicted on countless individuals. I'm not always too proud of that because I can be objective. I can understand someone's pain and trauma and what they've been through and the human aspect of it while still holding them accountable and not worshiping them. And in this channel, if I did that and
I mean, to be fair though, these people have lived the life of Riley, like unbelievable, a lap of luxury since day one, the likes of which we've never seen, and I can't give them the same sort of sympathy for any childhood trauma received that the likes of an orphan would, etc. You know what I mean? And a peasant, so to speak. The fact that they're born into wealth that lasts forever. Yeah, they've never struggled. You know what I mean? They've never seen the likes of a real struggle. So I don't give as much sympathy to these people in the startup because of the blown with a silver spoon in the mouth, and we are not. You know what I mean? We have to get through life without all the luxuries and everything that these people had. And when you really know about what the life that these people live, again, this is the Queen's sister here, Margaret. Um, it's unbelievable, really. We pay for these people to live the life of luxury, while they've got the Queen's one of the richest people in the world, and we still paid for her. Yet she's one of the richest people in the world. So it's a piss take, really. Like, we've been done in, we've been had over, and because we were born into it, and this is the way it was when we were born, we just accepted it. But it's a shit show. It really is. Like, again, something again. I maintain something's happened in about the 1700s, and we've all these people have took the reins and just rewrit history. It looks like some of big went down in the 1700s. There was a lot of even the 1800s and starvations and these no summers, and there was a lot going on back then. And a lot went down, and again, it's kind of like the earth changed in a way that the sea levels in sort of fairly recent history have either went up or down. California used to be an island and is no longer. So it might be again soon if there's a big earthquake. I've seen that as well recently. So yeah, again, she's right in a way. Like what she's saying, you could have sympathy for the people, but you can't have as much sympathy for these people as a normal person, because they're literally born into the absolute lap of luxury, the likes of which you wouldn't say you would none of us will ever know. So we'll have a listen. Again, it's very interesting. It's documentary this, and again, this woman isn't really a conspiracy theorist or anything. She's just doing biographies of famous people. She's done her research, but it all ties in to everything we talk about when you know what to look for, so to speak. So we'll play a bit more. Let's see what the crack is.
In the past, I apologize. This is not what this channel is about. This is definitely not who I am, especially now. I don't want to promote worshiping people that really have done a lot of cruel things in society. And I want to be blunt with who they really are. While yes, we still can talk about how they became who they are and have some empathy and understanding, it's not meant to worship any royal figure, any celebrity, or any political figures. Okay, so I want to start with Queen Elizabeth, some of the problematic things, as we stated, that cause nations all over to really despise the royal family and despise her. Though we know and the British Empire love their queen, okay, we know that you cannot say anything bad about them. They're really super strong in the comments. I want you guys to put that aside and really try to understand why everyone else might have a problem with it. And aside from the fairy tale and all the pomp and circumstances, really try to understand what the average person or the average Caribbean, the average African.
Yeah, I mean, we live in the head office here, you know what I mean? The actual head office of the royals here. And they own everything, they really do. And you've been told lies about these people. And through clever PR, they've painted a picture of themselves that isn't true. And yeah, the whole nation's hypnotized by it all. They really are. So yeah, she wasn't, and they're not the people that you think they are. The cruel, evil, nasty people, and there's much evidence of this. Do you know what I mean? Again, they believe themselves to be better than you. They have a divine right to rule, apparently, which I debate. Um, so yeah, they're not nice people. But the fact that she was an old woman when I was around, she's always been an old woman. I was never here when she was a young woman. So you just looked at her as this sort of old woman grandma figure, and that's kind of what they sell to you. That kind of the picture. So it didn't mean it was true though. That's just the picture they were selling you. You know what I mean? This is what they do. So it's very interesting knowing the history of these people. Again, they're German originally. They're not even English. They're German. Saxe Coburg Gotha. Changed the name round about the 1918, round about World War One. Changed the name to Windsor. Originally German. Saxe Coburg Gotha. So yeah, again, this is the truth of the woman, so to speak. The truth of the woman.
Nation endured under the British thumb, which is cruel and very inhumane, unbiblical, and just soulless. And so there's no empathy in that regard. I do want to start with that. But I can only go so deep down the rabbit hole because we know how YouTube is as of now. And y'all know y'all saw my Oprah video disappear. I don't want to accuse anybody, and I'm just going to say allegedly, but it came from allegedly her camp, okay? So a lot of these people do watch these videos when I do it on them, and they're not always too happy, if you catch my drift. And behind the scenes, it's a lot of
Yeah, because people can't handle the truth, and I found this before, especially in England where I live. People do not like the truth of the royal family because it's the royal family of England, and they've been sold the lie. Again, BBC there. What do you think the BBC's been doing since its inception? And it's only been rumbled recently by the fucking zombies that they lie all the time, the BBC, you know what I mean? Well, they've painted a picture of these family that's not particularly true. That's another thing they've been doing for quite a while, the BBC there. So yeah, it's they're not who you think. Let's crack on.
battle and fight, but hey, it is what it is, okay? I'm going to leave a lot for your imagination and just kind of steer you to go down the rabbit hole yourself. So read between the lines with this video, and that's all I can say with it, because there's a lot of information I'm just gonna try to keep safe and not say. But I want to first start with her religion. Many people...
Yeah, again, I mean, the woman kind of understands. I mean, I'm in England, you know what I mean? This is the power. Like, these people are the power. Again, I keep mentioning this. Like, they try to hide it all, but these people are the power. You know what I mean? It's in the word, king and queen. It's right there. Look at the bees. Is the queen the boss? You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's all there to be seen, but they just hide it. But, again, eyes wide shut, innit? Eyes wide shut.
Don't know this, and a lot of people from the British Empire, citizens who believe that the queen is Christian. The queen is God-fearing. She loves Christ, and that's who she is, queen. And no, she's not involved in any of that stuff. Well, that is a lie, okay? In August 1946, then Princess Elizabeth was initiated into the mystic circle of Welsh bards. This was at Mountain Ash, Glamorgan. Elizabeth was dressed as a druid for the ceremony, which initiated her as an honorary bard. And we know that the whole family has been involved in secret societies where they have the symbols of, like, the Knights Templar. If you guys are not familiar with what those are, I can only go so far, like I stated. So, you know, do some research of your own with who the Knights Templars were, the whole plan towards the end that's coming. That's coming towards the end. Their plan for the world, for the future of what's coming. But let me show you guys clips of this druid ceremony.
On August 6, 1946, Queen Elizabeth II, who was still Princess Elizabeth at the time, was initiated into the druidic organization called the Gorsedd of the Bards of Wales during the National Eisteddfod at Mountain Ash, Glamorgan, Wales. The ceremony was led by Archdruid Cruice Williams. The Gorsedd of the Bards began as part of the revival of druidic traditions in the 18th century. The word druid can be traced back to the Proto-Indo-European root words deru, meaning tree or oak, and wid, meaning to know. Hence, it can be interpreted as literally meaning they who know the oak. A druid was a member of the high-ranking priestly class of ancient Celtic cultures. They are known to have served as advisors to Celtic kings and chieftains, holding significant influence in pre-Christian Britain. They were religious leaders, legal authorities, lore keepers, and even medical professionals. Because they left no written records, most of the information we have about them comes from accounts by other cultures like the Romans and Greeks, where they were referred to as philosophers and men learned in religious affairs. The oldest known reference to the Druids dates to the 4th century BC, but the oldest detailed account is from Julius Caesar in the 1st century BC. Cicero wrote that they had knowledge of what the Greeks called physiologia, and that they could make predictions about the future. Diodorus Siculus wrote that they could predict the future by observing the flight and call of birds, or by making either animal or human sacrifices. Notably, however, Many historians have asserted that claims about human sacrifice were nothing more than Roman propaganda intended to justify their own cultural superiority. After the Roman invasion of Gaul, the Druids were essentially wiped out, and by the 2nd century their knowledge and culture were suppressed to the point of disappearing entirely from any written record. Neo-Druidism began in the 18th century as part of a broader revival of interest in ancient Celtic traditions and spirituality. Since then, numerous other organizations have been established that still exist today. One of their symbols is called the Awen, although there is debate about its authenticity. It represents the triple aspect of the deity, as well as the triad of the sunrises at the equinoxes and solstices. In Welsh mythology, the Awen is the source of inspiration for poets and bards. Neo-Druids have defined Awen as flowing energy or life force. The order of bards, Ovatis, and Druids is a modern example of Neo-Druidism founded in the 1960s in England. Their teachings emphasize the sanctity of nature and belief in the other world. Many members identify as pagan, though the organization is inclusive of various spiritual paths, often drawing from the 4 pre-Christian Celtic nations' deities and related beliefs, such as ancestral worship, polytheism, spiritualism, and even atheism. Although she was stripped of her title of Honorary Ovate of the Bards of Wales in 2006 due to her not speaking the Welsh language, Queen Elizabeth's induction into the order can be seen as a modern echo of those ancient connections between Druidic figures and royalty. Isn't it fascinating that a culture which was almost erased from history could not only resurface, but also rise to a level of influence comparable to the days when they sat as advisors at the top of the power echelon?
Western civilization is based on the white man's culture, and the white man's culture comes from Europe. For 1,000 years before the Roman Empire ever existed, and it still exists today in Europe, was a whole system of government, religion, law, etc. was already established before Rome ever came about. Was called the Druid system. Druids, well, they were the lawyers, the attorneys, they were the judges, the religious leaders, they were everything. The doctors, the medical, everything was Druid in Europe. One of the most important symbols in the Druid religion was a magic wand, like the conductor of an orchestra. He waves his magic wand, and you had better dance to the tune because he's the boss. So the magic wand, like Merlin the magician, magic wands were always made out of the wood of a holly tree. It's made out of Hollywood. So once you understand, it's the magic of Hollywood that's orchestrating the whole world to dance to a new tune.
Yeah, Hollywood. Yeah, and that's a subject in itself. I just thought I'd make the screen bigger again while I told you that. Yeah, another subject in itself. Hollywood, the magic wand, casting spells. I mean, that goes into the English language as well, spelling, and why the English language was invented, I believe. So it's a very deep subject, all of this. Again, if you want to go down the rabbit hole, there's quite a long way to go. So, very interesting all this, I thought. I thought it was a very good video. Again, we're only 9 minutes in here, so I'll play up quite a bit more of it, to be honest, because she makes some good points as well. What about Jesus? And a point I have made myself, to be honest. So, we'll get to that as well. Hold on a minute.
Wow. So where does that leave us?
It leaves you in a world of trouble. If you are ignorant, ill-informed, and unread, you need to open your mind and discover for the first time that law, courts, education, it's all part of a system. You need to begin to open your mind, understand
Yeah, completely agree.
how the world really works.
The Druids were definitely the great artists of the world. The Druid system is alive today. And back then, they didn't name it Luciferian or Illuminati or all those terms or whatever. But that's what essentially it is. It is a society that is in secret, that a lot of the most prolific people that we know are part of. And they basically control the systems of the world. And you'll see royals in there. You'll see the wealthiest people in there, and they make basically the decisions for all of us. These are not conspiracy.
Yeah, and they're at the top, and you have multiple groups like the Freemasons and the Fabian Society and the Club of Rome, and all these groups, and then ultimately the group at the top of it all is these people, and Call them the Illuminati, call them the Druids, call them satanic, call them whatever you want. But that's what's happening here. That these people are all in secret societies that ultimately go up and up and up and up. And at the very top of all of them, these are the ones in the top tiers, the royal family and all the global elites. But they use the Freemasons and all the other ones, the Fabian Society and all these things, Club of Rome, the Bilderberg Group, to get the things done. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it works. Play it.
Conspiracies. We have to grow up and mature at some point and stop believing everything is a conspiracy when the truth is laid out in front of you. But I do understand the people that want to live in blindness.
Yeah, but people think, again, people don't know what the word conspiracy means, that they add the word theory and think it means crazy story. When ultimately it means you're getting fucked over here, you're getting fucked over by people. And in this particular case, it's the rich people fucking over the poor people, which has happened a million times since time began.
And there'll be a lot of them in the comments. Understand, a lot of them too are bots, okay? So don't argue with people too much. But nonetheless, her whole family was a part of that, which is very unfortunate. Many of you guys say, but the Queen, especially during her Christmas specials, always mention Jesus Christ as the Savior, and she went to church every Sunday as part of royalty, Korean. So how could you be a part of that?
Happy Christmas.
She held the title Defender of the Faith, and every Christmas, Queen Elizabeth II shared her faith with the nation.
Yeah, I just want to interject there. She held the title Defender of the Faith, but as anybody as old as myself, I'm 45 or older, will realise the faith in this country in the last 100 years since the Queen took reign has absolutely been decimated. Like the faith in Jesus Christ, in the church, in the Bible, in everything, the faith has been completely decimated in her reign, and furthermore in her son reign, Charles. But it's a key point to note, do you know what I mean, that she was defender of the faith. I mean, this is going to go into it in a minute why. It's very interesting and correct, and something I've mentioned before. But yeah, she was defender of the faith, and the faith has been decimated in her reign.
I hope that 1958 may bring you God's blessing and all the things you long for. Me, the teachings of Christ, and my own personal accountability before.
And let's just all establish that she's reading a speech here. Doesn't mean she has to mean it. Doesn't mean she wrote it. She's just reading a speech off a teleprompter. That's what she's looking at. And that's what she's doing. She's reading a speech.
For God. Provide a framework in which I try to lead my life.
In 1953, Queen Elizabeth II was crowned during a coronation ceremony, a solemn religious ceremony, where Elizabeth was anointed and blessed by the Archbishop of the Church of England.
For me, the life of Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, whose birth we celebrate today, is an inspiration and an anchor in my life.
Well, yeah, that is a valid question that you guys pose, because one thing is you have to understand what syncretism is. And I'm going to do a deeper video on syncretism on my Mental Gems channel. If you're not subscribed there, subscribe there. Hopefully that video will be out by Sunday, no later than Monday, God willing. But syncretism, for you to understand what syncretism is throughout centuries, histories, even the old biblical Israel dealt with syncretism, and God was never pleased about it. It's the mixing of what is godly with what is profane. So it's the mixing of Christianity was not even a term really back then. It was known as the
worshipping multiple gods like Baal or fucking Ra or whatever. Worshipping multiple gods. Again, the Bible is littered with tales of even Israel being done in for worshipping multiple gods and not worshipping the true one God, Yahweh. So she goes into a minute as well why the Queen has no problem in mentioning Jesus Christ's name. And one reason is they don't mind worshipping multiple gods, these people, or mentioning multiple gods, you know what I mean? Plus, that's kind of what you do when you lie to people as well. But there's another very good reason as well, which I've mentioned myself, but we'll get to it now.
Way per the Bible. Many verses in the Bible will let you know that It was called the Way. Syncretism was something that was there since the worship of Yahweh, since the worship of Elohim, where he constantly was upset with Israel because Israel kept trying to mix the pagan practices of the other nations with the worship of Yahweh. And Yahweh does not allow that. I'm very shocked. There's a lot of people I even follow, would even say I'm friends with, that I come to find out they really think it's perfectly fine to mix pagan worship and idolatry and all of the mystical and stuff with the worship of Yahweh. They find nothing wrong with that. When, if you ever cracked your Bible for 1 minute, you would see that God was always against the mixing of the two. He just was never okay with that, right?
Syncretism has always been a problem for the people of God. We see that in the Old Testament, where Israel assimilated some of the practices of their pagan neighbors into their own worship of God. After the northern tribes split from the southern tribes, after the time of Rehoboam, Jeroboam, the king of Israel, instituted the worship of God in Dan and Bethel, but in that worship he employed the use of golden calves, which came from the religions of the nations surrounding them. In the New Testament, we see syncretism as a problem as well, that the different philosophies of the culture around them influence the church. Syncretism continues to be a challenge for the church today. We are so tempted to imbibe the views of our culture and to join them in our understanding of the worship of God. The Apostle Paul warns us in Romans 12 that we ought not.
I just paused. Sorry if the lips were unsyncing there. I just thought about it because I'm quite far in a video and it seems to fuck up now, the lip sync, so you have to start a new video and it doesn't. I don't know what's going on with that, but I've seen it on a lot of YouTube channels as well, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe them fucking breaking the internet, Skynet's took over or some shit now, who knows. So, bear with us, I'll just start a video and carry on here. Yeah, so worshipping multiple gods is a thing, but it's not a thing that the one god likes. But she mentions another reason in a minute why the Queen doesn't mind mentioning Jesus Christ.
To be conformed to this world, and then encourages us to be transformed by the renewal of our minds, to look at our culture in light of the Word of God, and to bring the false teachings of our culture to the light of the truth of God.
The royal family, of course, has done that. And syncretism is still part of society today. How it is evidenced is in traditions like Christmas, traditions like Easter. Again, I encourage you guys, before you in the comments arguing everything down, go a little deeper down the rabbit hole. In my video on Monday on my mental gems, I will go down the rabbit hole a little bit deeper. I'm a little bit more free on that channel because it's sponsored by my viewers who really support behind the scenes. So even if they demonetize, it's okay if I have issues. But this one, I'm a little bit more strict. But a lot of these pagan holidays that is worshipped is part of the syncretism.
Yeah, they've wrapped again with Jesus. Or Yeshua wasn't born at Christmas. This is pretty much a fact. They've wrapped their rituals into ours, and in effect, we're celebrating their rituals. Again, Easter is just sort of spring and new life again coming to the world because winter is finished and the calendar was changed, the Gregorian calendar, so that Easter would land on the springtime equinox every year. Again, so Yeshua didn't probably get resurrected then either, you know what I mean? All these holidays that basically are claimed to do with Jesus, Yeshua, are not. We're celebrating pagan festivals and satanic festivals in the place of Jesus festivals, so to speak, if everyone kind of gets what I'm saying. They've replaced their festivals with ours. So all the dates are wrong. So you're in effect like at Christmas and at Easter. You're not worshipping Yeshua and what happened to him, because it didn't happen on them days. They've changed it all, and again we changed the calendar as well. So again we'll crack on here. Play it, and you got to play.
Even the day of worship, going on Sunday to worship the sun god, the names of the
again the day of worship is now Sunday to worship the sun god, whereas the day of worship, again mentioned this before, is Saturday. And we changed it. So yet again, they're worshipping on their days, not ours. So everything's been changed. Everything's been changed here.
The month, the names of the day, Thursday, Thor's day, the god Thor, and a lot of those are mixed in with African deities as well. Just same deities, different names, etc. So a lot of it is mixed. And the biggest symbol or way you can recognize syncretism is in the name of Yeshua, who people will call Jesus, right? That was not his name. And that was not the name to be saved at. You will always see these people, Luciferians, demon worshippers, celebrities that really are not Christian for real. Yeah, they gladly will say the name of Jesus. Even demons will say it because that's not even Yeshua's name. That's
bingo. I've mentioned this many a time. That's why as well I thought I'd play this video, because absolute bingo, like that was not his name. I've mentioned this so many times. Again, I can never wrap my head round why we're calling somebody something that he was never called. He was called Yeshua, so why the fuck do we call him Jesus? You know what I mean? So it's a good question. It's a damn good question, one I've had for quite a long time. And I kind of think that's part of the deception, you know what I mean? And again, she's bang on here. This is the thing. They don't mind saying the name Jesus, because that wasn't his name. But you never hear these people say Yeshua. Never at all. So there's proof in the pudding, you know what I mean? There's absolute proof in the pudding many times. And the fact that this man is called Yeshua, not Jesus, I've mentioned it, God knows, 200 times, and she's bang on. She's absolutely bang on. They don't mind saying the name Jesus, because that's not his name. But when have you ever heard these people say Yeshua, the real name of the Lord, of the Son of God, the Lord, whatever you want to call him? The man has been proved to exist through texts from the Roman Empire, etc. Yeah, it was called Yeshua. So why would we call him Jesus? Again, I've mentioned this before. It seems like that's part of the deception. And yet again, she's absolutely bang on. They don't mind, they don't mind saying Jesus, because that's not his name. So absolutely brilliant, I thought. And again, I've been saying that for quite a while, and I've always had trouble with why the fuck are we calling this guy Jesus when it's not his name? So again, that's a good way of thing as well. These people can still pretend to glorify somebody, but they're not, because that's not his name. So I thought it was a very good answer, really, and I thought it was well worth a mention. We'll crack on. I'll play a bit more anyway. Hold on.
That's not even his name, right? It was always Yeshua. You will never see them say the real name. It's historical. It's a real thing. Go look at Hellenization as well. We will dissect that on Monday's video, because syncretism and Hellenization go hand in hand. And this is what you mean by the worship of Yahweh being whitewashed or taken by royal families or by these rulers, kings and queens, and then them incorporating their own gods and holidays.
Yeah, even the Vatican, let's just make note, when do you hear the Vatican call him Yeshua? Again, it's all part of the deception. I've always thought this, and she makes very good points. But yeah, they don't mind worshipping multiple gods. But again, the man was never called Jesus, so they don't mind saying that name. His name was Yeshua.
Days into it. So this is why you can see the queen has no issue with mixing, or saying the name Jesus, going to church or whatever. They're not worshiping the Jesus you think you're praying to.
Each king had his druid, but Christianity, they were incompatible with Christianity, and they disappeared as a group. The order, however, continued to survive by adapting itself to Christianity and becoming part of the Christian organization, but keeping its traditions, keeping its beliefs, and acting inside Christianity, the Christian matrix. And that wasn't simply in Ireland, but...
No, it's been hijacked. Like, this is what you need to try and wrap your head around. The whole, not just the Bible, but the Vatican, but the whole faith, the whole thing has been hijacked. And again, I mentioned before, the Queen was the defender of the faith, but the faith has been decimated in her reign because she isn't of our faith. They hijacked this, and through hijacking, they've made everybody disbelieve in it because that was the whole point of hijacking it in the first place. So this is what's happened. You know what I mean? This is literally what's happened. They've hijacked it at every level, and in hijacking, they've started to dismantle it. Like that's why they've hijacked it in the first place, to dismantle it. So, and you've watched it be dismantled in real time over the last sort of 60, 70, 80 years. So the proof's in the pudding, and the proof's always in the pudding. But for me, this is the crack. I mean, you've seen the Queen there at the Druid Festival. People will try and deny that. You know what I mean? People, oh, you're just doing it for the laugh. Like, even though you've got the Queen there in a Druid Festival being inaugurated. So yeah, people deny that. People deny what they see in this day and age. You know what I mean? Because they can't have it. They can't have it. Like all they see here about the Queen, and she doesn't worship Yeshua. Well, she doesn't. She worships Jesus, and we've mentioned before that's not his name. So yeah, it all makes perfect sense, to be honest. And again, the proof's in the pudding. Defender of the faith. The faith was decimated in her reign, and King Charles is doing nothing to defend the faith, as we've seen from his Christmas speech there. So we'll crack on, play a bit more.
All over Europe. And we find then MacLuger not only adopting Christianity, but becoming the ancestor, as the genealogy shows, the ancestor of most of the early Christian saints in Ireland, and the ancestor of the royal houses.
And a season for every activity under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die.
You're about this is proof that you're being played again in the media with the whole Harry's fell out with the royal family and all this bullshit. We're just being played, you know what I mean? Again, he's wearing certain symbols here, Harry. I'm gonna play here or what? Oh, it's just Knights Templar symbols. King Charles has got one as well, but he's got a crown above the cross. Again, there's a lot in these symbols. They like to wear them and show them, but people don't know what they mean. So again, this is the secret orders and the bullshit.
At the Logan Stone, the Archdruid, taking her hands in his, pronounced the Bardic welcome.
Elizabeth of Windsor.
Her Royal Highness was then conducted by the recorder to her place between her sponsors, one of whom, as his coon tenant, dressed the hood. Later in the pavilion, the princess addressed druid, bards, and obates, concluding in Welsh, "On with the Eisteddfod flood, and every blessing to wait."
And if you don't know, God doesn't fault you for what you don't know. And this, one of the several times on this channel, I'll actually speak a little faith-based because a lot of people,
Yeah, I mean, a good thing to point out, well, if you're a believer, the Queen is going to hell here. I hope everyone realizes that the Queen's going to hell for what she's done on this earth in this time, and yeah, well, everyone will get to see in the end, I suppose. But the Queen is going to hell. Yeah, people think she's gone to heaven. You know what I mean? The deluded people of Britain. But no, this woman will definitely go to hell for what she's done.
We don't know. Our people perish for their lack of knowledge, right? There was a lot I didn't know. But
Yeah, our people perish for a lack of knowledge. So we're trying to get the knowledge out there, you know what I mean? Trying to build up the knowledge, even myself. I'm still learning. But I started learning a long time ago, and you just got to pass it on. Some people haven't really started, you know what I mean? And you haven't got long to go, so you need a fucking rapid update here. So spread the wealth in a way. Spread the wealth is kind of what's going on here. Spread the knowledge before we run out of time or run out of the internet.
Being into history, being a history buff, there's a lot I'm learning. And There's a lot people just don't know, because a lot of people really falsely believe, even by books that were put out there, Christianity is false because this, that, but they don't know the history of how this all came to be. The second scandal we want to talk about is Prince Andrew and the whole Epstein situation. And what's upsetting about this situation is how the royal courts, the Queen, really went out of her way to block the media from exposing their ties with the Epsteins, okay? Or their ties with this type of degenerate lifestyle. And there's a lot, again, I'll show what is permissible.
Yeah, I mean, the problem they've got is they can silence the British media, no problem at all. That's the power they have. They own the country. But they cannot silence the world's media, so it kind of got out. But yeah, they can silence the British media, not a problem whatsoever.
But there's a lot of clips you guys would just have to go find on your own, where there's a lot of reporters that speak about just the harassment they received from the royal house, the royal family. People went missing. People came up dead for just trying to speak. And if it wasn't for the public just overly exposing everything, a lot people would have been dead. But it's like when everyone's talking about the same thing, there's power in knowledge. There's power in everyone talking about the same thing. Like, it would be easier to expose all of this stuff about the Queen or the royal family if every other creator, you know, was talking about similar things and exposing those.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we are. Again, it's why I made the video. Why I mentioned the channel. Very good channel, I thought. We're only 20 minutes in. There's no way I'm going to play the full video. I won't play much more, to be honest. If you want to watch the rest of it, get over to Karina Lorde biographies. Again, it's a real good video, honestly, real good. As she says there, people threatened, again, people turn up dead by when they mess with the crown, and again, the image of the crown, and this is true, and again, people can't wrap their head around that they killed Princess Diana, but they really did, and they really had motive too, because that woman knew far too much about how everything operates. The royal family, the Queen, she had a lot of knowledge about a lot of people, and she needed to be silenced, because if she ever spoke freely, the world's image of this woman and this family would have went down dramatically. So in modern times, they use Diana's kids. Diana will probably be in heaven as an example of the Queen going to hell. So they use Diana's kids with PR. Again, it's all PR. Again, they've indoctrinated the kids. Like, the kids wouldn't be like they are today if Diana hadn't have been took out of the equation, probably, because they got fully indoctrinated into the system, whereas Diana was what could have kept them semi-human out here instead of being part of this network of shit. But they murdered her, and so, and again, even the courts, like, it was held in the Royal Courts of Justice, to be honest, the inquest. So the people accused of killing the woman is the royal family. So where do we hold the inquest? The Royal Court of Justice in London, even though the woman died in Paris. So if that doesn't smack the high heaven of a fucking cover up, I don't know what the fuck does. Do you know what I mean? If you don't have suspicions there, then well, you're an idiot. To be honest, you are an idiot. So I think I'll leave it there anyway. Yeah, and if you want to listen to the rest of the video, get yourself over to this. But it's a really good video, and again, I mentioned at the start there's one on Gandhi. She's got one on Albert Einstein here as well, and yeah, all these figures of history of wankers, basically. And they've been painted, again, history was written by the victor, his story. They've been painted in a way for us that those people are all the makers and breakers of society, when really they're all just secret society members who are part of the clique and part of the club. And if you look into it, you can kind of prove that, you know what I mean? You can sit there and deny it, but if you don't look into stuff, but I mean, us that look into stuff, we're not bothered if you deny it. That's the beauty. You believe what you want, I don't give a shit. We're trying to help you here by updating your brain from the BBC's version of events. If you don't want to fucking, if you don't want to walk down the path, that's completely up to you. Sit on the bench. So I'll leave it there. Again, brilliant video. Get yourself over here and watch the channel. Give the video a like. Again, plenty more information in the other 35 minutes that we haven't played there. Leave it there on this one. Peace.